beauty of this segment is that you get a niche audience with huge attention span. So huge round of applause for the audience, please. So our esteemed panelists are Deepankar Sanyal, CEO, Platinum Outdoor; Mangesh Shinde, co-founder, Osmo Advertising; Saibal Gupta, co-founder and CEO, Expedia Group; and Vikas Noval, country head, Interspace Communications. So absolutely honored to have you here in this panel. And Priyanka has given us a very interesting topic, to infinity and beyond, OH forecast. So before going into the future, let's find out, when was the OH born? Any idea? Any idea from the audience? So, well, it is believed that outdoor advertisement existed, 8,000 years ago, and apparently there are some proofs in the form of, stone carving at the Dholavira architectural site in the Kutch district of Gujarat. And I was speaking to Saibal, and he told me that around, 2,500 years ago, the Romans and Greeks, they used to, roam around the city, with painted posters on their bodies. But modern advertising, out of home advertising started in the US in 1830s, I guess. And the very first billboard was, it was about a circus. So from stone carvings to body paints to, location-based personalized targeting, out of home advertising has come a long way. And what lies ahead in the future, we would like to know from you. So first question is from Deepankar. Deepankar, how will OH medium still be relevant in the future, given the fact that, digital is getting increasingly high share in the ADEX?
So I think this question has two parts. I would read it as two parts. One, whether outdoor is going to be relevant. Okay, just to give you some basic stats, I'm talking about India for the time being. 137 airports, more coming up. Bharatmala project, where all the tier 2 towns, tier 1 towns are getting connected, and the golden quadrilateral, more road infrastructures coming up, 13 operational metros, 23 new metros coming up, which means that Indian government is not going to keep the Indians home, right? So people will be moving out. So outdoor will remain relevant as long as people are outside. Coming to the second point, whether in the digital world, see, the beauty of outdoor is that it has adopted and adapted itself to the digital world, which is the bigger pie. So if you look at digital, which is growing at 30% in the traditional way, outdoor is becoming a part of the digital. It's not negating it, it's just not remaining the way it used to be, but it is adapting and adapting to digital, which makes it a part of the bigger pie. Hence, it's not getting irrelevant in that sphere also, which means that outdoor is going to proliferate, outdoor is there to stay, and it's going to continue to grow.
Wonderful. Now, Saibal, what is your forecast, about the industry in next 10 years or 20 years?
Hi. Hi. Yeah, now it is okay. So what I feel, see, it is out of home and digital out of home nowadays is no more a billboard advertising, right? And it is no more a digital LED screen, right? It is all about experience creation. It's an open canvas for ourselves, right? So why, I don't know, industry only talks about, billboard and your digital billboard. Why we can't include experiential marketing, right? So as the time will flow, more ad tech integration will happen and more experience creation will happen. More experience creation will happen, our pie will definitely be bigger, right? So it is not only about digital out of home and out of home. It is only the billboard, right? It is more about experience creation. Now we are talking about anamorphic. Now in the earlier panel discussion, actually, Mr. Navendu Bhattacharya was talking about content. Absolutely, it is absolutely important that content has to be much, much more important. Then nobody will talk about that measurement, nobody will talk about that how many people have seen. We have seen that Zomato, Doodh Mango and Main Dahi Dunga kind of advertising, and how it has been trolled socially, right? So it was important, right? Because one billboard has been put up there, and it has been trolled all across. How digitally it has been spreaded all across. So it is all important that content and ad integration and experience creation. More this will be coming on this, and more it will grow. The industry will grow in that way. So I feel that.
Yeah, it's interesting. Mangesh, how is the measurement in OH industries evolving? And do we have any authority, in the industry like we have, BRC in the TV and INS for print?
So Kanchan, am I audible? Yeah. You opened the session by throwing up a question to our audience, asking them how about the longevity of Outform, how old the medium has been. Every single person in this room would agree that yes, it is the oldest form of communication. Many of us would also unanimously agree that out-of-home measurement is not as evolved as its traditional and the digital peers. Since you've mentioned BARC, let us try to understand how TV measurement is structured. BARC has deployed barometers across 50,000 households across the nation. The 50,000 sample that has been recruited is basis the NCCS classification and demographics. And then it gets cascaded down to broader geographies, right? So the broadcasters embed something called as a unaudible audio watermark, which is decoded by the barometer, and that's how the viewership data is captured. So if we were to, take cue from BARC methodology, it follows top to bottom approach. For out-of-home, I would say it would work in a reverse manner, because out-of-home is all about place-based, it is all about location-based advertising. So here we have to take an approach of bottom to top. So if we have a look at the deepest administrative region that we have, that is a pin code, in instance, Mumbai has 175 pin codes. Market Research Society of India recommends 30 as a minimum sample size. So if you do the math, the sample size or the panel size for Mumbai itself comes to around 5,500. So adding Delhi, it would go to around 12,000, 13,000 panel size, which is a little less than 25% of the entire BARC panel, right? So if we look at the numbers, out-of-home panel would then be almost 10x of BARC, but the outdoor industry is 10% or 0.1x of the television industry. So the gap is really huge. And we as business owners, media concessionaires, agencies have to take this call if it is financially feasible to get invested and see the light at the end of the tunnel if those return on investments are going to come. So that's the larger question, point number A. Point number B is, we spoke about the methodology. Even if we successfully implement it, how would you cascade it down to an asset level? Point number 3 is, if you're talking about assets, something which doesn't exist in television industry is site attributes. We can debate every day that yes, we can have a grid in place, saying that, okay, this side is head-on, this side is parallel, it's angle, it is away from the road, the time spent is this much. We can have a fancy grid in place. But then at the end of the day, if my target audience is the one who prefers to self-drive, head-on is the priority for me. And if my audience is someone who prefers to be chauffeur-driven, LHS or left-hand side or the right-hand side holdings away from the road becomes a priority. So the importance of the grid changes from audience to audience. The fourth point is, many of the earlier panelists have also pointed out rightly that there are so many concessionaires. I believe in a couple of breaths you can take out the names of all the major television networks, right? But if you have to take the names of so many media concessionaires in out-of-home, it would take a day. So there is huge fragmentation in the industry, which adds on to the operational and financial hassle.
Yeah, Vikas, as Mangesh said, so I feel in absence of, any credible measurement, how can we bring, more credibility and relevance to the medium.
Let's understand there is a transformation that all of us we are a part of, and thanks to the technology and the digitization that's happening, the transformation is happening at a faster pace. If you were to look at television has been replaced by YouTube, you can watch any content of your choice at any point of your time, so that there's an ease of convenience, right? So if you were to look at newspaper has been replaced by Twitter, your radio has been replaced with podcast, and eventually theaters have lost their buck and shine to OTT. Out of home is still standing tall, and that's perhaps the merit an out of home is. And having said that, we can't be complacent. There needs to be a little bit of adaptability, and that's what I would call as relevancy that is needed. And if I were to say what needs to be done to bring the credibility and relevancy, we need to position ourselves better. We need to change our positioning. We can't be selling square feet or an Excel sheet or 10, 20 second of display. What we need to do is, what's out of home is known for big, bold, beautiful. So we should be focusing on selling the impact, selling the wow factor. That's something that doesn't come easily. And that's what outdoor has been doing all these years. So if I were to simplify it, I think we need to change our positioning from just someone who has a great network of media owners, sites, and execution bandwidth. Somewhere we need to change it to the brand custodians who are selling the wow factor and the impact.
Very important point you made. And before, moving on to the second round, I would like to have a quick question round. Which O ad do you think is timeless? You can start with this.
Timeless, that reminds me of Nabindu Bhattacharya. I'll tell you why. So early 2000, I do not know how many of you would still remember, Hutch got into a tie with MSN Search, and when they did the TVC shows a guy searching on his phone, Eskimo, and the TVC moves from his dining room to a boat where Eskimo is traveling, then there's a bus where the Eskimo is traveling, then Eskimo is crossing the road, and by the time the search is completed, all he could see is Eskimos around the table. Okay, Ogilvy team, the then Ogilvy team led by Nabindu, did a fantastic job on recreating the same magic on billboards. There's a billboard at Pedder Road at Mahalakshmi Junction on the left-hand side, 4020, conducted by Roshan, and it has a perennial problem of pigeons shitting on the board. And all of us, we have heard client ranting for the entire mess that the pigeons used to create. And what these guys did was they put up the same idea on the billboard, and this time instead of Eskimo, it says pigeon, and you could see pigeons at any point in time. So I think that is something every time if you were to ask me, I think that still takes the cake hands down. So tactical, strategic, hyperlocal, and
Fantastic
relevancy.
ad it was, Saibal.
So I've been working in this industry since last 3 decades. So one advertising which always keeps reminding me and to see that billboard is Amul advertising. Amul billboard means earlier it was painted with the current content of that particular day or particular week. Now it's on the flex, it's there. So there are many such, but out of that actually I think Amul is one which I can recall.
Yeah. Thank you.
In domestic market, my first interaction with out of home when I was a child was the classic "Ghar nahi jaunga main" SL word campaign with some beautiful messaging that struck with me at that point in time. But I believe that Balbir Pasha Kaun Hai was a tremendous campaign that was executed. I'm not sure who executed. It was probably Radio Mirchi or Radio City. I'm not sure about it. But this was just a bus panel campaign that was spread across the entire city. And the entire then millennials were talking about who really is Balbir Pasha, what is he trying to convey, right? So the messaging struck very hard to the point with the correct audience.
Yeah.
Globally, if I talk about, I believe, Coke has been a pioneer in doing masterpiece communications with the out-of-home context. And McDonald's, who have used their logo as signages for redirecting them to their nearest store, I believe is the classic and the perfect way of using out-of-home.
Superb, really. Dipankar.
So to me, an outdoor advertising which does not require to add too many dots and you will still remember is a perfect advertising for me. For that, I come from a city called Calcutta. And, you know, for some 50, 60 years back, even before I was born, there was a site or a bridge panel which was put up. Then it was a highway on going towards Barrackpur, which had Dunlop written on it. And till date, that place is known as Dunlop. The bridge does not exist, that panel does not exist, Dunlop has gone down the drain, whatever has happened, but that place is still called Dunlop. To me, that is the power of outdoor.
Wonderful. So Dipankar, next round, I would like to start from you only. So manpower.
We would want to ask
Yes.
what's your favorite out-of-home?
Oh my God. So journalists खाली questions पूछते हैं, हमें answer देना नहीं आता. Okay, but still, I think Blinkit at Zomato ad, that was simple, quirky, and it was inspiring. It has inspired so many brands, and it went viral. I went to digital everywhere, right? Yeah. So see, so Dipankar, manpower is a major issue in the industry, I suppose. So do you see that issue is spiraling up in the future as well?
See, any industry is built on manpower, right? Outdoor is fast evolving, it's going into the digital space. Requirements from the brand side is also changing. Today, clients don't just look at people who they know they are comfortable with, but they would like to talk to people who understand their brand. So there are three things which from an agency perspective that a client looks at. One is from the creative angle. Second is strategy and planning. Third is the buying. And fourth is your buying strategy, creative, and client servicing. Now, all these four have to evolve or is evolving. The kind of people coming into it have to be very different. So today you don't have a person who can just build relationship. You need a person in the client servicing who understands brand and speak the client's language. A. Creative, it's just not, the days of shaking hands and shaking legs are gone, right? That's not innovation anymore. Somebody who understands technology and at the end of the day tie technology to the client's ROI is the one who is required in the creative. Strategy and planning, person who understands data, analytics are the one who are required in data. And lastly, buying, because it is moving to digital, it's guys who understand programmatic buying are the ones who are going to be required. So the entire spectrum is changing, and that kind of people are talking about upscaling. But if you look at the kind of people that are working in this outdoor industry today, kind of fossilized, right? I mean, you upscale it to what level? It's the new blood which is required, which is going to take this industry forward. So I think manpower
A
needs
very
to change
critical
it.
point you made, Dipankar. In Saibal, so as you mentioned about, manpower is the issue in the tech form also, in the tech field also. So, but marketers today, they run after, data, metrics, impressions. So how is the industry, gearing up, for the measurement thing?
Yeah, everybody is talking about measurement. Everybody has their own tool, and they all demands that my tool is better than other. All across this thing is happening, right? So probably not today, it will take some time, but over a period of time, more accuracy on API integration on the supply side, on the measurement platform, Google Map API, Google Data API, or census data, or many other data, when it will be integrated simultaneously with all the platforms, this will be a currency tool will happen. But not today, it will take some time, right? Probably 3 or 4 years. Now everybody is working on towards this. Let it get complete, then it probably it will be there.
So because OH, currently accounts for, 4% of the ADEX. So do you think that, innovations and IoT, AI, will they help the industry to increase the ad revenue and probably the share in the ADEX?
Definitely, not so soon, not immediately, but it's a gradual shift. It's going to take time. It's process. We have come a long way from the time when we used to paint the billboards to part paint, part print, and then to print. So this is definitely going to take some time, and for sure it would add to the edX. But there's a challenge. Currently, what's happening is the entire DUH IoT innovation budgets is basically eating out of the conventional out-of-home budget, right? So if I were to say it's a cannibalism which is happening in the industry, till the time the media doesn't speak for itself, it doesn't create its own mark, and that could only be created when you use the basic nature of it, which is you make it interactive, you make it far more appealing. And that is a time when it would have merit to show, that's a time when it can build a case study of its own, and that's when you can go and ask clients that we need a different budget for the digital out of home, and it can't be eating out of the conventional out of home budgets. That's point one. The second is we need to redefine out of home. We can't be selling out of home as a square feet or 10, 20 second of display, right? And this is perhaps where we made a mistake sometime back when we started to stay away from the mall advertising, theater advertising, and it actually went out of the out of home budgets. Few clients consider it as out of home budget, few don't, and we can't be repeating the same mistake. And this time we need to go and tell the clients that, listen, DUH is something which delivers different objective for you, and we need a different budget for this. You can't be eating out of the out of home budget. So when we are able to do it, when we are able to redefine the out of home, that's when the entire pie would be growing. Till then, if we are eating out of each other's pie, it's not going to help us.
Very important point. Vikas, Mangesh, do brands and creative agencies, still think OH is a part of, their print and TV advertisement, or do they consider it, differently, from communication perspective?
I would say yes and no both, and both are completely justified. Uh, Brands, advertisers today are spending huge amount of monies to understand a particular problem. The creative agencies come up with a solution to address that problem and create a proper messaging. On the media perspective, there are multiple channels. There is YouTube, there's television, there's print, there is a lot of fragmentation in out of home and digital as well. There is cross-device targeting. But the consumer is one for all the mediums, right? So the messaging that needs to be perceived by the consumer at the end of the day has to be uniform. There has to be no confusion that probably out of home is speaking something different about the product and television is speaking something. All that money that you have spent has gone down the drain. So from that perspective, I believe, yes, outdoor does becomes a extended part of the traditional creative or a digital creative for the matter of fact. But times are changing, I believe. Brands have started to look at out of home in a complete different way in cases where they need some differentiation for a particular campaign or a product. So I recall doing this campaign recently, a 3D anamorphic campaign for one of our clients, wherein we had to take the lead in, creating the storyboard, understanding the elements of the entire storyboard, create them, coordinate with the creative agency to get it done, to get that look and feel on the out-of-home format. So I believe tech-led innovations is where out-of-home agencies need to step up and give those proper recommendations and be a part of the entire creative journey. And that is a start point where the brands will also start giving opportunities to us agencies that you can think from out of home perspective for a couple of ideas or subs to meet their certain objectives. One is tech-led and the other is contextual communication. Saibal just mentioned, you also mentioned Blinkit and Zomatos of the world, Amul, right? So that is one case for contextual communication where out of home, because we understand location, we can integrate location insights in the creative as well, right? So I believe, yes, it has been an extended part, but I believe that's going to diminish for special cases.
So good to see that industry is, becoming progressive. Now, quick concluding remarks from all of you. Because you can.
Like I said, two things. Like I said, two things. One is we need to change the positioning of out of home. We can't be selling out of home is not just square feet or certain digital displays. That's one bit. And second is we need to redefine the out of home. Yes, there's going to be a little bit of tech, little bit of data, little bit of science, little bit of method, but it's more of a hygiene factor. We still need to play for what out of home is known for, which is the big, bold, beautiful out of home, creating impact, creating a wow factor. And these days, if something does not have a photographic memory, it's not worth spending time upon. So if you're not able to create a photographic memory of your campaign, it's all waste. So
I'll talk about the same thing, only it's all about content and ad tech integration. More ad tech integration. It is not only about anamorphic content or normal content. I'm talking about projection mapping, laser projections, holography projections. Different things can be done in this canvas actually. And more will do it, more outdoor will grow.
So as long as out of home, digital out of home, programmatic digital out of home, whatever you can name it, is able to move the moving audience who is on the move to take some actions, and those actions create an impact on the brand KPIs. At the end of the day, the marketer is going to gain trust on the medium. He or she is going to see the results fructifying. I also, plus to what Mr. Dipankar said, the industry needs a lot of talent coming in from tech, data science, from creative divisions, to be able to climb that ladder and take out of home to at least a 5,000 crore industry in next year.
Thanks, Mangesh.
So to me, it's very simple. Outdoor is here to stay, and it is going to grow. There are no two doubts about it. It's just that we need the right kind of people coming in to make it happen. Data will be there. Pricing will always be an issue, but it's just the kind of people who drive that it's going to make the difference.
So I think that the panel agrees that all forms of advertising and all formats will coexist in the future. There are some challenges in terms of measurement, manpower, and maybe mindset as well. But I think outdoor is, poised to grow thanks to, tremendous innovation that is going on in the industry, creativity, and its own timelessness. Thank you so much for your time, energy, and intellect, to share with us. Thank you. Thank you, Vikas. Thank you, Saibal. Thank you, Mangesh, and Deepak.